Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Why People Do What They Do, where we speak to talented and accomplished individuals from various fields. Today, I am so happy to have with us here today Datin Elaine Daly. Datin Elaine Daly, thank you so much for being with us here today. Now, she wears many hats. She's an actress, MC, television host, beauty queen. She was crowned Miss Malaysia Universe in 2003, and now she's the national director of Miss Universe Malaysia organization, or what we also call MUMO, where she grooms and mentors aspiring women who would represent Malaysia on in the world stage. And she recently also started an organization called Lead Out, which we will explore further in our conversation. Elaine, thank you so much for being with us here today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for all the accolades. Sometimes, you forget what you do since you've been doing it so long. But yeah.
That's something that I also want to talk to you about, because those accolades, as you call that, them, it's because of the longevity that you've had in your career. And when you're a trained lawyer, and when you decided to enter into showbiz, tell us about that point when you decided that this is for me, and what is the recipe for that kind of longevity in a career? Because it's quite difficult to have the career that you've had.
Um, yeah, I mean, I started when I was 14, 15. I started modeling when I was at a very young age. Earning extra income. I at that age I didn't need to go to mom and dad to say, can I have some pocket money and I basically started earning my own money at that age already. Um, and I really enjoyed being in the entertainment industry. I enjoyed my modeling career, but at the same time, my parents said, you still have to have an education, and law is something that I enjoyed studying immensely. It was something that I loved studying. And by the time I finished my degree, I was still quite young, and I didn't want to practice yet. I was called to the bar at the age of 21, and I said, I want to be able to see the world and continue modeling. And you asked me about longevity. I mean, I think the key thing is to always evolve, to always have a goal to work towards too. So I wanted to become a host. I wanted to become an actress. I wanted to win an award. I wanted to do all that. Um, I also wanted to be called to the bar as a lawyer. So, at the age of 30, I stopped everything in the entertainment industry, and I basically did my practicals for 9 months, and I was called to the bar. So I always kept up with the times. I always evolved, and I knew my place. So yeah.
Do you ever face that dilemma of, should I choose the entertainment industry, which I love, or should I choose a legal career? Was that ever a
Um,
question for you?
of course, that after I was called to the bar, the firm offered me a place, and I was in my early 30s, and I said, what do I really want to do? Do I want to, become a lawyer? Do I want to carry on, being in the entertainment industry? There were its pros and cons, but I think once you've seen the world, you can't pretend that you haven't. And um, I chose the entertainment industry, and I'm glad I did, because I got the biggest and best acting role of my life. After that, and I subsequently won an award for that. So I'm glad I chose that path.
And that was the role you got was after you chambered for 9 months and you,
Yes,
you made that decision.
yes, yeah,
Do you ever have that conversation with your parents? This is something that we ask our guests on the show.
yeah.
That I want to venture onto this path, and what were their response to that?
Um, my parents were very, they were strict. They're strict Asian parents.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they gave me the freedom because, to do what I want to do, as long as I kept my 2 feet on the ground, as long as I kept my head on my shoulders, they gave me their blessings to do what I wanted to do. And as long as I had an education, I had a degree, so even till today, if it's something that I could fall back on if anything were to happen. So
Have you ever thought about that?
mom and dad were pretty cool, pretty chill. Dad used to send me to all my modeling gigs and
Nice.
and stuff like that. So we're still a very close knit family. And yeah, I hope that they're proud of me.
I'm sure they are. Let's talk about the Miss Malaysia title that
Hmm.
you won in 2003. Why
Yeah.
did you decide to enter the pageant?
Um. So I was at a point in my career. I was 25 then. I was at a point in my career where um it was the last year to enter the pageant. And for me, entering the pageant was an entirely a career move. It was a
Mm.
business move for me. Yes, as a little girl, I used to watch the pageant growing up, and every girl dreams of becoming a beauty queen kind of thing. But for me, uh, it was it was a decision that I made. Although I was already recognized in the entertainment industry, I already started modeling. I already I was already hosting, and a lot of people said that, oh, you could lose and they'll be very embarrassing and all that, but it was a risk that I wanted to take.
Mm.
um, and I'm glad I did it because it opened up a lot of doors for me. It helped with the budgets that that I was getting as a commercial talent, and yeah, it helped me big time. And I really appreciate the title to today, and that's what I tell all the girls as well. It's the title that you carry with you for the rest of your life. You need to carry it with pride and dignity, um and yeah, and it was a great move that I did.
Do
I
you
had to
think
do it.
do you think that that title kind of catapult your career and set it on a direction that resulted in where you are today?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because Malaysians love titles, right? So
The more awards, the better.
yeah, so having that in my pocket really helped me, and it did catapult my career to a different level.
Mm.
And so today, I mean, I still use the title for various different things that I do, and people still remember me for that. So yeah, I'm very grateful.
We talk about the many hats that you wear. How do you juggle your daily routine? Let's talk about your daily routine. How do you juggle work and family?
Um, I think it's all about time management. I'm quite anal when it comes to planning. So so I make sure that I time everything accordingly so that I don't go berserk and I don't go insane, because with all that I do, and running a family as well, it's very possible that sometimes I go a little bit crazy. But more often than not, it's okay because of my time management skills that I try to incorporate into my daily life every day.
Have you always been a planner though?
Yes, I like planning.
Okay, so it's always it's always been with you since the start of your career.
Yeah, yeah. I plan like, I mean, that's you talk about evolving, and I mean, we talk about longevity in the business,
Mm.
and I plan that out, to see where I could be in 3 years time, in 4 years time, in 5 years time. And I try um to manage that in a certain way. Things may not turn out the way I want it to be sometimes, but most of the time, it's been okay.
And speaking about planning, you recently founded an organization called Lead Up. which aims to empower women, all individuals, but especially women, through
Yeah.
interpersonal skills. Do you think that this is an extension of your passion for mentoring and grooming young girls and getting your experience from, your vast experience from your Miss Malaysia days up till now? Tell us about Lead Up and where that motivation comes from.
Yeah, so my motto in life has always been and still is to make a difference in people's lives, as cliche as it sounds. And wherever I can, however big, however small, I want to impact people's lives. I want them to walk away from me knowing that they've learned something, or they might remember something I've said in 10 years time and they might use that. So that's where my motivation to start Lead Up came from. Plus, from the time I was crowned Miss Malaysia, I was always asked to come back to mentor the girls, and I found that it's something that I really enjoy doing. Um, Only because I get to see them blossom and grow and become amazing individuals. So that's why I chose to do Lead Up, because I thought, okay, why not? Since I do it anyway, to have a platform that, people can come to, and not just beauty queens, but people from all walks of life. And I don't only work with corporates, or I don't only work with students. I work with people from poor income families. I, coach, girls who come from orphanages, and wherever I can, I want to make a difference in their lives, and that's why I do what I do.
How much of it is inspired by your role as a mother? You're a mother to two beautiful girls. How much of it is inspired by starting Lead Up? Because the word empower is so central
Yes.
in the whole organization.
Yeah, so, even before my daughters came along, I was already doing it. I was already invited by companies, by HR platforms to give talks to their staff members to help them build confidence and empower them in any way that I can. And I think, having the career that I've had, um, and still in it, I think people see that value that I am able to, maybe impart with their staff members or their organizations. So, this started from way before I became a mom. And of course, becoming a mom, there's a lot more different elements that I inject into my trainings, like having a lot more empathy, having, a lot more family management skills, that kind of thing. So yeah.
Tell us more about the workshops that you conduct in Lead Up. What can participants expect from these workshops?
Well, I mean, the most important thing I always tell people is, it's communication. Communication is key in whatever field that you do. So, I concentrate on verbal communication. I teach them how to be in an interview, for example, how they're supposed to communicate, and not just by talking, their eyes, their how they sit, how they stand, basically, nonverbal communication skills, the skills that you're meant to have, like grooming skills, all these kind of things, as a lot of people may think that it's not so important, but it does add to a lot of importance to, to what you want to do, and how you want to be the best version of yourself, basically. So it's communication skills, verbal, non-verbal, how to build confidence, how to stand out when you walk into a room, how to have presence, all these kind of things. I think it's really important in this day and age, especially where digital is so, it has taken over our lives, that we forget how to communicate, and we forget how to be sometimes. in the presence of other people, and we still need to interact with other people. So I think it's super important to have these skills ingrained in you. Yeah.
And part of it is also part of your workshops also include grooming and dressing up.
Yes.
Um, what are the benefits you think are when it comes to power dressing or dressing well? You've spoken before about the importance of gestures, body
Yes.
language. Why do you think that that's so important? I know you spoke about it earlier, but
Yeah.
and that's something that I thought more about because just this week I had lunch with my boss, and he
Okay.
was talking about how we were in a meeting recently, and he could somehow suspect that I was a little bit uncomfortable. I didn't say anything, but he was like, I could sense that you were uncomfortable through your body language, through the way, your eyes shifted. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's really important. I think I've always known that, but that was the
Yeah.
first time that someone told me that, I could sense that you were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So why do you think that is so important? I mean, I think people know this at the back of their minds,
Yes.
until they are in a situation where like, okay, this is important. I've got to get this down pat.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, visually, when you walk into a room, if you are dressed sloppily, people are not going to take you seriously.
Yeah,
If
true.
you are going to, attend a meeting with an important, member of your company or whoever it is, impressions last, and people are judgmental no matter what you think or what you say. Bosses, staff members, colleagues, they're all judgmental.
Mm.
And it is really important that you portray yourself in a certain way. I'm not asking you to be a fake person,
Mm.
but someone who is presentable enough and pleasant to the eye so that you attract um, good vibes. You attract um, the people who you need to convince about that particular meeting or work, or someone who you're going on a date,
Mm.
let's say, and you want to impress that person. But if you come dressed in your shorts and t-shirt and you like can't be bothered with putting on any makeup or
Mm.
anything like that, this guy would be like, seriously, you can't even make an effort with me. It's about making an effort and to show that you care. I think that's important.
in
Yeah.
your in your communication and engagement with so many people through the course of your career,
Yeah.
where do you think the mismatch is when it comes to verbal communication and non-verbal communication, especially among young Malaysians, the next generation that you've spoken to? Where do you think the mismatch is right now? What is lacking?
Um, Honestly, I think that the kids these days, they are very everything is given to them. I was just with a couple last night having dinner, and they've got two teenage kids, and they said that they're not hungry, they're not
Mm.
ambitious enough, because everything is given to them. I've had staff members at the age of 27, where parents are still calling me and saying, why does my child have to stay late? So the
No,
independent,
really.
yeah. So the independence is not there. And I think all these, and mom and dad will take you to work, and mom and dad will decide on your job for you. Mom and dad will give you your first car. So you're not hungry for anything. You're not ambitious enough to want things. And so when you come out to work, and when you are in your 30s, and after you've been mollycoddled by mom and dad for so long, right, or whoever that's taking care of you, um, you're suddenly lost, and you don't know, what to do, what to say, how to make eye contact, what is important, what's not important. And I think that this is where my whatever I teach or whatever I groom comes in to play. And I want to start with teenagers. I want to start with the youth, to make them aware that it's not an it's not the easiest place out there. And you need these kind of skills. You need to be equipped with these kind of skills to be able to survive in the workplace, or in the world, and be better individuals and be the best version of yourselves, basically. Yeah.
So that's the mismatch that you've also encountered.
Yes.
Um, okay, we'll talk about lead up. Lead up, I feel when I first found out about lead up, I think it's very holistic
Yeah.
because it talks about communication, nonverbal communication that is also a result of their perspective in life, right?
Yeah.
And it also then portrays the external part, which is dressing up, putting on a smile, just that kind of presence that you have when walking into
Yeah.
the room. So I think
Yeah.
it's very holistic. What I'd like to touch upon right now is with the current pandemic,
Yeah.
people are looking to save a little bit more, but people still want to look good. What
Yeah.
are the DIY beauty tips or hacks that you can share with our audience here that wouldn't um, break the wallet or wouldn't, cause a hole in your pocket necessarily?
Oh wow. Okay. I have one really good one. So if you suffer from, um, what do you call that? Puffy eyes,
Puffy eyes or eye
puffy
bags.
eyes,
Yeah.
puffy eyes, or dark eye bags, dark eye circles. Sometimes, take a teaspoon, put it in the refrigerator, right, and put it over your eye. Leave it there for maybe half an hour. So put it over your eye, and immediately your eyes are like, ta-da!
Serious? Wow. Is that the same as putting cucumbers on your eyes?
Yeah, similar,
Oh,
similar.
nice.
But a teaspoon works better.
Right. Okay, I'll try that.
Other than that, you don't have to buy really expensive products to use. I
Yeah.
don't think so. And you know what I realized that during the MCO that we need very little actually. We don't need that much, because we survived 3 months without having to go and do our nails, without having to go and do our hair, without having
It's
to go for a
true.
facial, and we still look good. You look good, my skin's still okay, and
We don't need three or four different foundations or three to four
yeah,
different eyeliners.
yeah, yeah.
Have you ever come across a situation where you were interviewing or you were going for a meeting with somebody and that person um, was did not portray the best version of themselves because of the way they portrayed themselves externally? So that's where the non-verbal communication and communication skills come about.
Yes,
Yeah.
many times. I mean, I've encountered a lot of people, who don't take the who don't think who they don't think that it's important enough, or they don't care enough about themselves. And that's what I always go back to. It's the individual. It's whether you care enough about yourself as to how you look, um, how you carry yourself, how you portray yourself to other people, um, and it's whether you care enough
To make an
about what
effort. Yeah.
yeah to make an effort. Yeah.
One of your favorite quotes, and I think that ties very nicely with your what you mentioned earlier about making an effort and caring enough, right? You talk about accountability, and this is one of your favorite quotes. You say, "If it is to be, it's up to me." Can you tell us more about why you hold it near and dear to you?
um yeah, I when I was about 22, I attended an what do you call that, an empowerment workshop, um a leadership program, and that was one of the quotes that has stuck with me till today. And if it's to be, it's up to me. So you're responsible and you're accountable for your own actions, regardless of anything that you do. So if I want something to happen, it's not someone else is not going to make it happen for me. I've got to make it happen on my own. I've got to stand on my own 2 feet, and I've got to make sure that this is what I want. This is how I'm going to do it. So hence, if it's to be, it's up to me. No one else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to put on that lipstick for you. Um, you know, you've got to do it on your own, and you've got to be very strong and know exactly what you want and how you're going to get there and do it. Yeah.
Have you ever been in a situation or a juncture or crossroads where you had to revisit this quote of yours in your career?
Yeah, every day. When I'm feeling lazy, especially, I mean, like, we all have bad days, we all have good days,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And the days where I'm feeling like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? Or I don't feel like getting out of bed, or I don't think I'm good enough. I mean, and then I revisit this quote and go, if it's to be, it's up to me. No one else is gonna do it for me except for me, so I jolly better do it.
Tell us about, any adversities that you had to overcome over the course of your career. Anyone that jumps in your mind right now?
Adversities, plenty. Ups and downs. There were, there are times where you think that. Um, I mean, being in this industry where people judge you all the time, and it's a very judgmental society. You tend to self-doubt, and I do that too. I'm a culprit of that. I mean, I'm only human. Regardless of whether I preach it to other people not to do it, sometimes you tend to self-doubt and wonder whether you're making the right decision, whether you're doing the right thing, whether you're making the right step. But if it's to be, it's up to me, and I just plod on and plow through it, and somehow miraculously, with the grace of God, I manage to pull through whatever difficulties that I come across. Whether it's relationships or work decisions or anything like that. Yeah.
When we talk about being in the spotlight, it takes on a toll on somebody. So what you mentioned earlier, people are judgmental. You're constantly put on the spot. Um, do you ever remember a moment in time where you had to face that particular situation where you wish that you weren't in that spotlight all the time? Have you ever regretted um, your path to in the entertainment industry, for instance, because it always puts you in the spotlight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't regret anything that I've done,
Mm.
but there are certain times, where, at the peak of my career, let's say, where you just don't want to be, you just want to be a little bit anonymous, and, you don't want people to know, what you look like when you're out there buying just groceries
Because you have to
and
constantly be at your best, right? Like it keeps you on your
yeah.
toes all the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I tell the girls this all the time. I said, you know what? Even if you're going down to the Kedai Runcit near your house, I said, you make sure that, you're not in your tattered and torn t-shirt, because you never know who you're going to meet.
Ayo.
Mm.
I mean, that's the most comfortable, right?
I know. But, it's you only have one moment in time. That's one of
Yeah.
my other quotes too. And walking down the street, if you want to be a famous actress, let's say, you never know that you might just meet that director, who is looking for that perfect girl, or you might meet the love of your life, and if you are in your like baju koya, and you can't be bothered about anything, then. But I'm not asking you to like dress up to the nines to go to the Kedai Runcit
Or
lah.
wear heels to the Kedarinchi.
No lah. But as long as you're decently dressed,
Mm.
and you carry yourself in a certain way that you're not like this Miss Sloppy Joe or something like that, then I think it's okay. But yeah, being in the spotlight, it's not the easiest, because people expect you to be um, camera ready 100% of the time when you're not, and you don't feel like it sometimes. But I know it comes with the job. It comes with the territory. It comes with the job that you do. So sometimes, there's certain sacrifices that you have to make, and I've made a lot of sacrifices in my life. um, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy as to how things have panned out, and here we are.
What are the biggest sacrifices that you've had to make for your career?
Um, I think deciding from one thing to another, I can't think of like the biggest sacrifice.
Mm.
Um, I'm glad I got married very much later on in life. I'm glad I didn't get married in my early 20s or or in my 20s, because I was very career driven and I wanted to achieve everything and I wanted to travel the world and I wanted to see the world and do all that. So, I'm glad I didn't have to say, oh, I got married and had kids and I had to sacrifice all that. But I mean, there are its pros getting married early, because I've got like friends who've got kids who are like so big now. Mine's like 5 and 2 and they're driving me nuts. Um, you know, but no big huge sacrifices that I've had to make, small sacrifices, yes, deciding from one thing to another or, having to basically give up my um, freedom of fame, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you think what does success mean to you? The definition of success, and do you think that you've already achieved that in your career, or do you feel that you have more to do? And I think I know the answer to that already because of the of lead up. But yeah, can you share with the audience what does success mean to you?
Um, in every juncture of my life, success meant very different things to me.
Mm.
In my 20s, I was still soul searching and I was still trying to find out who I was and what I wanted to do. And, in my 30s, it was um, finding the right balance and then trying to find the right person in my life to marry, and I think that every step of the way, I achieved the success I needed to achieve at that point in time. Um, so yeah, so now what success means to me is, having my 2 children who are happy and healthy and me, starting lead up and accomplishing, different workshops, hopefully more to come. So that's what success means to me.
There are a lot of young girls who look up to you, young talent who look up to you, who want to be the next Miss Malaysia, perhaps, or who look up to you because, the cause that you represent of empowering women is so dear to their hearts. What would your advice be to them? And also, what is the central advice that you shared with all the Miss Malaysia contestants?
Um, I always tell them that they need to be themselves, and they ask me
Mm,
the same question back. What does it mean to be yourself? I mean, we hear that all the time,
yeah.
and oh, just be yourself, be yourself. So you are who you are as a person. Be the best version of that person. I'm not asking you to be someone else. I'm not asking you to change your character and change your personality to be another person. But if you are a beautiful person inside and out, be the best version of that person.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So give it all that you have. Take everything out from you and make sure that you are this person sitting on this pedestal that you would go like, oh my god, she's amazing.
Mm.
And that's what I tell the girls. I said, you've got to be yourself, but be the best version of yourself.
How much of the elements that you've created, because you write your own modules and programs for lead up, how
Yeah,
much of that is injected into your mentorship of the Miss Malaysia contestants?
everything, all of
Mm.
it. Yeah, I use all the stuff that I teach them about confidence building. I teach them about standing up and speaking up and nonverbal communication skills, from grooming to, how they show empathy. It's in their eyes, it's in their gestures, it's
Mm.
in their expressions and all that, and, how to perfect their smile. I have all that. Yeah.
On top of being the best version of themselves, how would you also advise them to have to basically have that longevity that you have had in your career? Most people would say that two things can happen when you win a beauty pageant, right? You can achieve a long and successful career, just like you've had, Elaine, or it could drive a career that has barely started into obscurity. So, what would your advice be to them?
To have longevity,
Mm-hmm.
to always evolve and to always have a goal. A goal is super, super important.
Mm.
Be it many goals at different junctures of their lives, having goals is I think key for me. And to always evolve. If let's say you're done with something, okay, what's next? My question is always, what's next?
Mm.
Yeah.
So don't be complacent and have that discipline to always evolve as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
precisely.
Yeah. What projects are in the pipeline for you, and which you would like to work on in the future?
Well, I'd like to, carry on working on lead up and making sure that it is the best version of it.
Mm.
Um, and I also, where Miss Malaysia Universe is concerned, we know we've got our gala coming up.
Mm.
So for the first time, it's going to be virtual. It's we're still having all the contestants there. We still have all the judges there, except that there is no audience. And it's on the 5th of September, and it's a pay-per-view, only 15 ringgit. For you to come and watch the pageant. So yeah, whoever's watching this, please, keep your diaries free.
And it'll be streamed on
It'll
Facebook.
be streamed on the Miss Malaysia website, missuniversemalaysia.com.my.
Before we go off, I would like to talk to you about the word ambition. Tory Burch, who we all know have built a global fashion brand, she has mentioned before that she subconsciously shies away from the word ambition. And most women do that. We subconsciously shy away from the word ambition, or if we are ambitious, we do not want to be tagged to that word as much because it has that negative connotation. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that? Is that true?
No, I mean, I beg to differ. I think, ambition is a wonderful thing to have. I don't think I can understand and I can see why you mean the word negative, or why Tory Burch would mean the word negative. Um, and that's because, we as as females, we don't want to be too showy. We don't want to be too like, oh, I'm so ambitious and I'm doing this and that. It's not that. But I honestly think that, ambition is a great thing to have. It keeps you on your feet. It makes you feel alive, and
Mm.
it's good to speak up about it as well, because when you voice something intentionally, it will happen for you. That's what I believe anyway.
All right, Elaine, thank you so much for
Hey,
spending
thank
time
you.
with us. Where can our audience find you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I've got a website, elaine-daly.com. So if you need to get in touch with me, just DM me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
And on 5th September as well, that is when the e-gala for
Yeah.
Miss Universe Malaysia would be happening. It's
Yes.
only 15 ringgit, so stay tuned for that. And
Yeah.
also, any information at all on Lead Up, you can access that on Elaine's social media pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you everyone for being with us here today and for joining another episode of Why People Do What They Do. If you like our content, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also on Spotify, we stream on Facebook, and on our website at www.wpdwtd.com. Thank you so much and have a nice weekend. Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you. Bye. Have a nice weekend.